Stop being selfish. Stop being selfish.
I want to change lives. I want to show people how to progress in their money. I want to show people how to progress in their mindset. I want to show people how to progress in their brand, so that way they can take care of their family, take care of their finances, and experience freedom.
Man, I'm ready to make it my daily routine that when I leave the gym, I come stop at Starbucks and grab me a coffee. All black, no sugar, no cream. I'm hyped up right now, but I got a message for you. I need you to understand what I'm about to say. While I let this motorcycle go back. Stop being selfish. Stop being selfish. Today I had a marketing message go out today to a portion of my database, and the marketing message was essentially inviting people to the Progression Conference that I'm hosting next month here in Los Angeles. And when I sent out that message, someone responded back to the message, and they said I sent it to about 600 people, and someone responded to that message and said, "I don't believe that this is Andy Audate." I said, "Hey, it is Andy Audate." Then what they did was they called me. They called my cell phone, and then when the texting service that I use, if you actually call that number, I get the call. So I got that phone call, and I picked up the call. And the guy's like, "Hey man, I didn't even believe that was actually you. I thought it was one of your marketers calling me or texting me." I said, "No, man, it is actually me, brother, man. I'm texting you." And then he started saying, he said, "Hey, I don't want to come to the Progression Conference because I think I should be in your audience. I make a lot of money. I should be in your audience." The first question I said, "Okay, you egotistical person, you. What is your top line revenue?" He says, "My top line revenue is $50 million. I say, "Okay, great, $50 million, but this is not the way that you go about trying to get on my stage. The way you go about getting on my stage is through the proper channels and procedures that I have. You don't just start calling me and telling me your top line revenue, talking about how you make so much money and you deserve to get on my stage." So I said, "That's not the way you go about doing it." He said, "Hey man, I don't do that getting on stage stuff. I don't do that, social media stuff. I like to keep my life private." I said, "That is so messed up. Let me tell you why." I said, "Let me ask you a question. What's your ethnicity, man?" He said, "I'm Hispanic." I said, "How many Hispanic young men and women are there in the world that deserve to hear your story about how you became successful and built a $50 million company? How many people would be supported through your story?" There's a group of men, there's a group of people just like you who need to hear your story to know that it's possible. The same way that when I left Rhode Island and I was living in an impoverished area, and I saw the drug dealers around where I grew up at. And then when I saw my mentor, James, and he was successful and black, that gave me permission to not have to go out and sell drugs, but do something very positive for other people and become successful in business. When I saw James be successful, who are you holding back by you staying small? By you trying to hide behind the curtain? We're going into a new generation now. We're going into a new economy that allows every single person to become a personal brand. You need to be your own personal brand. You need to get in front of as many people as possible and share your story and your message, your testimony, and the things that you have overcome. This is the progressive economy now. We're going to the progressive economy where we're growing at a faster pace and things are moving along much quicker. Now, here's what's going to be happening in the new progressive economy. And I'm starting to realize this as I'm speaking and I'm visualizing and understanding it. Here it's about 6 o'clock in the morning. You can see the sun is coming out now because I just left the gym. Downtown Los Angeles, came here to grab my coffee. In the progressive economy, we're moving at such a rapid pace. We're moving at such a rapid pace that if you don't build a social following, a social media following, you don't build a personal brand, the group of people that you're supposed to be serving, they're lacking your story, they're lacking your message. You have these ideas, you have these thoughts, you have this mindset that there's a group of people that need to hear it specifically from you and your voice in order for us to grow at such a rapid pace. But by you acting small, by you living small, by you turning down your volume, by you turning down your knob and being unknown, nobody knowing you, you are not serving this group of people that need to hear you. You are not serving this group of people that need to hear you. There's a group of people that only will move when they hear your voice. There's a group of people that will only move when they hear your story. So that person, his name is George, by the way. I'm calling you out, George, Mr. $50 million man. I'm calling you out because you're playing small. Because I said to him, as soon as he called me with his egotistical self and started blasting out how much money he was making and stuff, the first thing I said, why are you so selfish? And he said, what? Like his response was, why would you say I'm selfish? I said, why are you so selfish? I said, do you recognize that the reason I'm a speaker, I travel all across the country now. I'm hosting these events, giving people game, giving people knowledge to progress and get out of their own way. The only reason I'm able to do so is because I had a mentor who wasn't playing small, and he allowed me to express myself, and he showed me that it was possible. If it wasn't for him, I might still be in the streets. If it wasn't for him, I might still be in the East Coast instead of living in the West Coast, living my dream, if it wasn't for him. So I shared that with you. I said, why are you so selfish? If you're Hispanic and you made it to become to create a business that's making $50 million a year in top line revenue, don't you think there's a group of young men that were just like you that need to hear your story so they can recognize that it's possible? Stop playing small. Stop playing small. This morning I woke up today and I said, you know what? I don't want to play small. I choose not to play small. I want to go as big as possible because there's a group of people that need to hear my story, they need to hear my voice, and they need to recognize that it's possible. A couple of weeks ago, I was on the East Coast and I went to a high school, my old high school, and I started speaking at my old high school. And I shared with the students that I sat in their seats, and I was getting in trouble like they're getting in trouble. I had a talk with the person that's the school manager, that his job is pretty much to take care of all the kids that get in trouble, and I sat in his office and I had a talk with him, and he started sharing with me about what's been going on in the school. The fact that I went to go to that school, my old high school, and I talked to the kids and I said, hey, I sat in the same seat that you guys are sitting in and I made $1 million. I live in California. My house, so I'm in downtown LA, my house is literally up the street. LeBron James passes my house to go to work on a daily basis. So I share that with you not to impress you, but to impress upon you of how possible it is. But because I'm sharing that message, all the young black men and women from the hood have a person to look up to and say, look, it is possible for me to grow. It is necessary for me to grow, and I can do it quicker. See, the progressive economy, all it's saying is that I must progress at a rapid pace. And the way you progress at a rapid pace is by looking at someone who's already done it, recognizing that it's possible, and leaping to where they're currently at. You don't have to go through trials and tribulations. Get a mentor. I'm mentoring you right now. Get a mentor. The more that you listen to my content, the more that you listen to the words that come out of my mouth, the more you read my books and listen to my programs, you'll understand my mindset of how I grow at such a rapid pace. And by you constantly feeding your mind with information that I'm sharing with you, you're going to succeed much quicker than you would if you were doing it on your own by yourself. Get yourself a mentor. I'm here mentoring you. Go to Audate.com. Get more content, as much content as you can. Download the podcast, download the Progression Show podcast. Go to my website, go to my Facebook, and get as much content as you possibly can, so that way it can seep into your mind, and the next thing you know, you're subconsciously recognizing that you are greater. You are stronger than you possibly have ever imagined before. By you stopping the feed of this content going into your mind is the time that you slow down in your progression. Might I submit for your consideration that this right here, this interaction between you and I is divine. That there's a reason you're supposed to get that you're here. We're 9 minutes into this little video, and there's a reason that you're here. Might I submit for your consideration that you are much more powerful than you've been living life? What if I told you, not even me, what if you went to heaven and God told you, oh man, I'm so disappointed. You've only been living 5% of your potential, and you thought it was a good thing. You thought that your life was well lived. And God said, man, I put you on earth to do something great, and you've only been living at 5% of what's possible, 5% of what I gave you to do. and you thought you were living your life. You said, I'm satisfied. There's a man that I know that in his life, he's 53 years old. There's a man that I know, he said, I'm good with life. I'm good with my life right now. I love how life is from me right now. And I said to myself, what if he died, goes to heaven, and God says, man, you've only been living at 4 to 5% of what I put you on earth to do. Oh man, if I got to heaven and God told me that, I would be sad. I'd be saddened by this. I would say, oh my gosh, if I went and talked to God and looked at God in his face and he looked right at me and he said, Andy, remember that time that I gave you this idea to do this big thing and you got nervous and you said it was impossible? Let me share with you. Had you taken the first step, I would have put this person in front of you. Had you taken the second step, I would have had this happen to you so that way you could have progressed. And I would have been saddened to recognize that I did not go in my full potential. What is your potential? What is your top line potential? Who is depending on your success? Who is depending on your success? Today, make a decision to do something much bigger than you have ever done before. You can see that the sun is coming out. I'm waking up before everyone else. On the average, I mean, there's gonna be, hey man, let me tell you something. It's 6 and change right now, maybe 6:10, I can't see the clock. Somebody's gonna wake up in 3 hours and they're gonna start their day. My day started 3 hours ago. My day starts at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I figured this out, that if I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, I have a much longer day than everyone else. Multiply that by a year, I end up having an extra month. A month and a half. So everyone else operating on a 12-month time frame, I operate on 14 months. No more average. That's why I wrote the book, No More Average. Start living life today at your full potential. Don't play small anymore. Go into a 9 to 5, living a mundane life. Every single day that you wake up, you should be nervous. Why? Because your goals are so damn big that oh my gosh, I don't know what's gonna happen. You should always be nervous in living life. And you should be comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's what it means. When you hear successful people talk about live uncomfortable, like be comfortable with being uncomfortable, all they're saying essentially is that every single day that you wake up, you should be feeling nervous. Every single day that you wake up, you should be feeling some type of way where, oh my gosh, I don't know what's gonna happen, because you're always uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable. I'm nervous as hell as to what's going on next in my life, onto the next portion of my life. I'm uncomfortable right now. I've been uncomfortable for years, to the point where my heart doesn't shake anymore with fear. I'm not fearful. All I'm saying is that I am nervous. I don't know what's going to happen next, but I'm creating the story for my life. Live uncomfortable. Stop playing small. Stop living your life small. Go 100% with what the life you deserve. And there's a group of people that's going to hear this message and they're going to say, man, Andy's talking that motivational nonsense. Man, I know that that's true. There's gonna be a group of people that's gonna say, Andy's talking that motivational nonsense, because this message right now is not for them, but this message is for you. Might I submit for your consideration that this is a divine. The reason you're still here listening is because you recognize it's true. You have not been going through life 100%. Don't be that person that goes up to God and God says, I'm sorry, man, I cannot believe it. I put you on earth to do these amazing, great things with your life, and you've only lived life at 5%. You died and you only get 5% of your potential. A couple of years ago, when I first started in speaking, I was on tour with one of the biggest motivational speakers in the world, Les Brown. And we were stationed in a house. I remember we were in a house in Orlando. We would have a big house with like 5, 6, 7 bedrooms. And the tour manager, what happened was I was downstairs reciting my speech. And the tour manager was making a coffee. This was early in the morning. The tour manager's like really tired. He's making a coffee. And I'm speaking to the president of the company, and I'm showing him like how I speak so that way he can critique me. And the tour manager's to my right, and what he's doing as he's turning the coffee, as I'm speaking, he stops turning the coffee and looks up. And he says, wow. And I'm like, what's going on? He said, Andy, like, you have so much potential. And it hit me right then and there that it's not guaranteed. What I want in my life is not guaranteed. I must put in that work. And if I don't put in that work, that potential will die. So put in that work today. Start today. Don't die and get to the 5% and recognize that you've only done 5%. I want you to die empty. Like, go all out. Put it all out. Go to God and say, man, I'm proud of you. You gave out 98% of what I put you out on earth to do. You didn't live life small. The people that you were supposed to lead, you led them. Through your stories, through your book, through your message. Every single person on earth should have a book because there's a generation behind them that needs to learn. There's a group of people that's behind them that needs to learn. If you want to live productive in the progressive economy, you must share your story and you must share with as many people as possible. No longer playing small. Live life full. Die empty, but live life full.